What's happening? Excuse me. Man, today was a day. Still trying to put it all together, right? So, what I'm gonna do as far as stats wise, I'm gonna bring the board back eventually, but the distance, the space, like the feel of the pod, trying to still formulate how that's gonna go together, right? Today was supposed to be a day where I tinkered with a few things, but clearly wasn't any time. I just got back in the house, right? Haven't eaten breakfast yet. Yeah, breakfast. You just grab these out the fridge. It's crazy day. I want to say I went to sleep maybe like 2 in the morning watching Netflix. Just watching Netflix. Got up around 9. Right. Need some hangers. Where do I go get hangers from? I'm gonna go to Target. So I get up. I bet I need to go to Target. Take my clothes out, laundry wise. Just lay them all on the bed. That way I can fold, do what I need to do later. Then I'm thinking, I'm like, dang, I had food in there I was supposed to cook. I ain't got all the ingredients for it yet. Yeah, that means I need to run to the store too. Not Target, because, nah. Dang, I hope they got everything. So, run to the nearest Target, grab some hangers. Now I'm thinking about posters. I'm like, dang, I need to grab some more of the little wall stickers to the posters. Yeah, let me grab them too. They don't got them. So I run to the next store, probably 30 minutes away. Then I'm like, dang, all right. Still got to go and grab the ingredients for the food. Store, 30 minutes away. All right, bet. Cool. I'm going to take that 30-minute drive. We're going to go ahead and we're going to just get it done while we out. You didn't do it yesterday when you had the time. Just go ahead and do it. After grabbing the ingredients, I realized that there were still some things that I needed from grocery shopping that I didn't grab the other day when I was out. So, might as well run to the store, grab them too. And then I just kept remembering things I need to get done, piece after piece after piece. Then pull over in traffic. Guy rolls his window down. I looked at him. He's like, yeah, your brake lights is out. Dang. Then as I stop my car, slow my car down, I hear a little squeaking. I'm like, oh, no, we can't do that. So got to run to the auto shop. Plus, I got to go to the gym because it's not updating my payment information on the app. Man, long story short, right? Getting up at 9 a.m. to get hangers turned into getting home at 7:45 p.m. Hungry, dehydrated. Just overall, it was a crazy day. And then women, if you didn't know, men can have days like this all the time. And then there'll be little things that happen while we out that are like sum up the day. Like I remember whether I did things productively. I remember what store I needed to go to for what. Remember all the other things that needed to get done, whether I was going to be capable of doing them or not. And then in the meantime, I always remember, man, it was a bad month at this store. It was a lot of bad months at this store. Dang, what neighborhood am I in? All right, bet, cool. I'm gonna make sure I come back to that neighborhood. 'Cause I want to see some bad ones when I'm out and about. Especially the older black women, like the cougars, the aunties. Yeah, wherever the fine aunties at, I'm at. I ain't trying to be around the young hood boogers. I'm not trying to be around any of the young stupid people. Nah, I'm cool. Wherever auntie and them at, I'm trying to be around Miss Gladys and them. I'll run errands all day just to be around Miss Gladys and them. Going through the produce aisle, grab the bag, you grabbing the bag at the same time, giving me compliments on my cologne, telling me I'm all cute and whatnot, I'm handsome. What? I want to be around the aunties at all times. But that ain't got nothing to do with what I'm talking about today. And again, I got to keep saying it out loud just so when the page builds up and then folks are either disputing or arguing about, debating about what's going on or what's being said or why things are happening the way they're happening, these initial episodes will be here as a reference point for folk to be like, well, if you'd have been paying attention, here's a thought process behind it. And then on top of that, I can continuously vocalize to myself that I need to be more direct, more curt, more frank. So we live. Conversation before I talked about education, but more so from teenager down, right? From the ages of pre-K to 12. 4-year-olds to 23-year-olds. I don't know how old y'all are graduating high school no more. Y'all could be graduating at 15 for all I know. But the stats say majority of the time you shouldn't be graduating because you're still dumb. That's cool. Talking about adult education now, like grown folk education. This people put on resumes and they say in conversations in order to look impressive. I'm a product of the double pipeline journey. Pause. For those who don't know, one pipeline was the school to prison pipeline. Get you used to being on a schedule, get you used to dressing a certain way, behaving a certain way. So your behavior will translate well to prison. The other pipeline is, in my opinion, the worst. The worst of the two. Through the school to suffering pipeline, where you go from diploma to degree to debt in that order. And I say that one's the worst of the two because debt can go with you forever. And it affects your family. It affects your connections. It affects everything about your life. It's like the difference between like the feminine consequences and the masculine consequences, right? Where the masculine consequences, yeah, they seem bad, but they direct about it. Prison, you're not going to have freedom until this date. It's very direct. The feminine consequences, yeah, you're not really going to understand your consequences until it's too late, until they hit you, until you can't reverse it. That's the debt, where you don't really understand the stress of being in debt or the obstacles that come from being in debt until you're in debt. What you can't do, what you can do, what you're expected to do, what's going to be done to you, what won't be done for you. All of these things you have to experience for yourself. And we're taught about neither of these pipelines while you're in school, because while you're running through the program, we're not going to explain the program to you. Somebody hustling you, they're not going to tell you that they hustling you. You just got to figure it out. So going to school, and the entire time you in school, it's preached. You need to do everything you can to get to college. Get to college so you can get a good job. That is for almost the entirety of adults in the world right now. If you're going through school at some point in time, somebody hit you with you need to go to school so you can graduate, so you can go to college, so you can get a good job. The same one too. And somebody on the other side of it, they lying. Again, I try not to get no advice or try to infringe upon somebody else's decision making or try to sway your opinion, but give my perspective from my experiences, from information I've collected. No cap. Yeah, you don't need college unless you have a specific career that you're aiming for, and all of these things are absolute 100% around the board for everybody who participates. Those people, they need to go to college. Everybody else, you don't need it. Because crazy thing about a degree is, right, they don't actually mean you know shit. It's legitimately a piece of paper, and we in an age where scammers are everywhere. You can print you off a diploma right now. What about the transcripts? You can fake your transcripts right now. Well, the school don't have the records. A lot of people aren't interacting with the schools that closely, and a lot of the schools aren't organized enough to be able to even pass along that information if somebody asks for it. You could finesse your way into a doctorate right now if you wanted to. Why do I say that? Because it was a scam anyway. So how can somebody get upset for you scamming a scammer? There's no honor amongst thieves, right? And make no mistake about it. Them folks is thieves. You setting kids up with loans that, and this is the crazy part that you never pay attention to. I'm going to break down the different parts, right? The first part, it's easier to get a loan while you're in college for college than it is to get a loan at any other point in time in your life. Your business can be A1 perico. You could be doing great business with perfect business credit. You can have perfecto personal credit. Even then, you won't get a loan easier than somebody that's going to college. Instant yes. Immediate yes. How can I get you to take this money? Anybody has ever watched Barbershop? Why would you messing with Lester Wallace? They send a lot of us to Lester Wallace, boy. Sally Mae. Good old Sally Mae Wallace. They sent us right on over there. Come get as much of this debt as possible. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about the money later on. For right now, just take it. Enjoy your life. Just to bust you over the head later with it. Another issue, the books. Books in college cost no less than $100. At the most, they might cost $1,000, like per book, between $100 and $1,000. And you better hope that you don't have a professor who wants you to buy their books and actual textbooks at the same time, then other materials. You're going to need no less than $1,000 per semester just for the books. Just for books. No, like the floor, absolute bottom of the floor is $1,000. And when you try to go sell them back, you might be able to sell them back for maybe $200 if yours were brand new. So you taking an 80% loss on your books in 6 months. Not even 6 months. That's in 4 months, your books depreciate by 80%. Barnes & Noble, boy. Another way they get over. Third one, this is the important one. The advice that you don't get from guidance counselors. What is the purpose of having guidance counselors if there's always a bunch of bad guidance counselors? Every school has them. The most important position outside a teacher is guidance counselor. What classes should I be taking? Here's what my interests are. How can you point me in the right direction? A lot of schools, you'll never meet your guidance counselors, never talk to them. At most, you might get an email from them. And if you want to drop a class, you might get another email from them telling you how to do it. But none. So you out here immediately walking into debt, making bad investments in your books, getting no advice. And then problem number 4, right? And this is the part that'll make you leave college and not actually go to colleges. The connections that you make, your network is more important than any class you take. Who you know means a lot more than what you know. And that's a precursor to something that happens in a professional field. The fact that you know so-and-so will get you a job faster than you knowing as much as so-and-so. Their clout will get you in your career more so than your diploma, your degree, your certifications, any of that. Which is a big red flag, right? But they gonna send you anyway. Parents didn't know no better, so we went. Guidance counselors not giving you any advice. If you don't have a mentor or a coach or somebody that's in the know to give you personal advice on how to go about college, you fucked. You screwed. It's over. And ask anybody that went to college. The best part about college isn't anything you studied. It isn't getting into your career. It isn't even finding people that you share interests with. It's the community. Everything that you can need to survive in life is right there. And this, I can guarantee that's how old civilization used to be. We need food. The food is available when you need to go get it. I need resources. The resources are all available if you want to go get it. It's all up to you. Anything that you can want and need in a college campus or in a college environment is available. It's just up to you to go find it and go get it. And that's the perfect situation. Like, people graduate, get in their careers, get married, and they still go looking for that feeling right there of everything that I need being available to me. That sense of community. Best part of college. And then after the communities, the experiences. Where am I going? Who am I doing it with? Those things. So your degree that you're going through 8 semesters of school for on average, the most important part of it, which should be the grades and what you learned, pales in comparison to the environment you're in and the experiences you have. And that describes college right there. What you think you're going for, you're not really going for. And what you don't expect is what you enjoy the most out of it. And that bleeds into your career and adult life. Because remember, the pipeline is go to school, get good grades, go to college, get a good job. Under the premise that if you graduate college and do what you're supposed to, there'll be jobs waiting on you. Hard fact. For majority of people, there aren't. The positions, they're not hiring for those positions. Those fields are not profitable. Those degrees actually mean nothing. So you picked up those loans, you made those bad investments. You had to learn these lessons the hard way just to find out that everything in your journey that led you to now failed you. Again, the feminine part of consequences where you're not going to know your consequences until you face to face with them and it's too late. Because it's a common experience to go to college, graduate, do everything you expected to, not network nearly as much as you should, because you don't know that your connections are more important than your education. So you graduate, you can't get a job in your field. On average, majority of people don't get a job in their field, their career field, until like 5 years after graduation. You have to do more work. You gotta go to college, you gotta get certifications, you gotta interact with people, you gotta do volunteer work, you gotta do community service, you gotta reach out to different organizations, you gotta wait for new businesses to get started, you gotta wait for something to move, you have to wait for opportunity to open the doors for itself, and then you have to fight hundreds to thousands. So between hundreds and thousands of people for that position. The positions that it was sold that everybody would have available to them once they graduated. Seems like a scam, don't it? Don't go to college. Because crazy thing about all of that is the richest people in the world don't go to college. The startup businesses that do well, they're not college graduates. They're people who had an idea, had a business, and invested in it and rolled it out long term. And majority of us don't know what we want to do with our lives by the time we go to college. At 18, you haven't lived enough life to know what you're interested in. That's why it would make more sense for folk to live life, travel, have more experience, and then be able to go to college once you have an idea of what you're interested in and what direction you want to take your life. But you got to jump in now. Need you to not be as knowledgeable as you could be, because then you'll understand the process too well. You'll understand the situation with the student loans. You'll understand the situation with the books. You'll understand how to be more resourceful and how to go around through loopholes, through the scam that is adult education or secondary education. We need you young and dumb, because we need you to be in debt. There's a saying, if I owe you, you'll never be broke. That's how America's running right now. If I owe you some money, you'll never be broke. Another stream of income is somebody else's income. And the crazy thing that's never said out loud that I came across just on a humbug, your ID or your driver's license is worth more than your degree. The value of your driver's license is higher than the value of your degree. Probably pay $10, $20 at the most for a driver's license. On the low end for a bachelor's, you're going to pay $30,000. On the low end, it's like the smallest school ever, and you're going for like a program that requires you to take like 3 classes. For most, maybe pay $15,000 a year. So your degree might cost $60,000 just for tuition, and you taking room and board and in the books. You can college degree cost you like $50,000-$60,000. So your degree costs you $50,000-$60,000. Your ID might cost you $15 to $20 at most. Your ID is more valuable, and I say that because there are people who get jobs and opportunities without having a college degree. There are ways to get certifications or to get experience, and the experience will allow you to overstep the degree qualification. You cannot get a job in the United States without your driver's license or something to replace that driver's license. You can have a degree, but if you do not have a driver's license, you can't get the job. You can go and look. You can try. You can search. You don't have identification or a driver's license, won't work for you. Ain't that tough? And again, man, I promote conversation and interaction, human interaction. So get with folks who've been to college, get their experience. What did they enjoy about it? What didn't they enjoy about it? What happened? What experiences did they have that they couldn't replace? What were their experiences that were traumatic? Would they suggest college? Would they not suggest college? And figure out what they feel about it. Because honestly, I think about the W.E.B. Du Bois versus Booker T. Washington friction that they used to have, where Mr. Du Bois wanted folks to educate themselves, go to college, get degrees, learn the arts. Mr. Washington was like, man, we need trades. We need infrastructure. We need to be focused on the foundation. Hindsight 2020. Both of them were right, but if you had to do one before the other, should have followed Booker T. Washington more, because majority of folk go to college to make money. You make money from good jobs. So folk go to college trying to work, quote unquote, good jobs. You get a trade. Your trade is going to get you a job or a career. Your trade will get you a career that's going to pay twice as much as anybody who's graduating college. The folk who make real money from graduating college have to go get a master's or go get a doctorate. It's a bachelor's degree versus certifications from a trade. Certification is going to blow the bachelor's degree out. Not even out of the water. It's going to blow that space. You get your HVAC certification versus getting a degree in business. Not even close. You're not getting a good job with a business degree unless you know somebody who owns the business to start your own. Then there's folks that's like, what about nursing? Because that's a way to get some money. Your nursing degree don't mean shit until you do all your clinicals and whatnot. It's not the going to class part. You got to do extracurriculars to get a nursing degree and actually become registered. Because then after your degree, you got to go get your license. And you can just get certified to be a welder and make as much. To be a carpenter. To be a plumber. If you want to make real money, send your 17, 18, 19-year-old off to trade school and let them become electricians. You work as an electrician from 19 to 29, 10 years, you're good with money. You can be able to retire in 10 years. It's almost never been a thing for somebody to go to college, work the career that they went to school for, and retire in 10 years off the money that they made from their career. With a bachelor's degree? Hell no. Not a thing. And again, I'm speaking in generalities, right? Because nothing is absolute. There are situations in which it can be true in a small instance, but the exception doesn't break the rule. There's just one small exception, and it's small enough to that it's not really affecting the situation. One of every 500,000 students might not fit this situation, but that's one. They send you to college not for you to be invested in, but for you to invest. And it's like Best way to describe it is like you go to college basically to make involuntary charitable donations into the United States. We're paying for these schools. We put money into the schools. The schools bring money back to the governments, to the local governments, and to the federal government. If students stop coming to the school, money stops coming to the school. Can't have that. So, on a smaller level, we're going to brainwash you children who can't think for themselves. We're going to put them in the schools that don't teach them to think for themselves and continuously push you and pump them out into college. And craziest thing about college is, I want to Google this to make sure it's correct. Yeah. 24, the average is 24%. So 1 in every 4 students that goes to college drops out and never returns. So they're dropping out with debt. Didn't get the diploma out of it. Didn't get the degree out of it. Just went to school because they were told to, and then without any of the benefits of it, still got to pay that price. My situation, right? I'm going to school. I'm thinking about all the schools I can go to and all the places I got accepted, all these acceptance letters I'm going through, all these brochures I'm getting, high test scores, yada, yada, yada. But fortunately for me, I wasn't like majority of high school students because I was already thinking logical. Survival of the fittest was already in my brain. So I'm looking at the price tag. I'm like, yo, who paying for this? For example, like I got the brochure to go to Harvard. Yeah, I'm like that. And the financial breakdown, being a out of state student who attend Harvard, $90,000, not for all 4 years, not even for one full year. $90,000 for the first semester. And then being a part of the Black community, right? That's going to be a conversation later where I'm going to have to get into Masonic organizations, D9 organizations, and HBCUs. All of these groups, right? HBCU graduates are real elitist, where if you didn't go to a HBCU as a Black person, you should shame on you. You have to go to a HBCU to be Black and to be Black and educated. Crazy thing about that is HBCUs are two and 3 times more expensive than PWIs. So folks are judging you for not going to HBCU, but 60 years old, still paying on student loans. Remember, we went to college to get a good job, to make money. To make money, not to just have it and owe it to somebody else. So what's the purpose of going and collecting more debt? Because the more debt you have, the less money you actually have, because you're working on behalf of somebody else. Was the craziest situation, right? I'm like that. Being educated just ain't enough. I got to be educated the way you want me to be educated. And you're not going to assist me when it comes to dealing with the consequences. The craziest thing ever. Misery loves company. I want you to be in just as bad financial shape as I'm in, but it was fun though. Remember what I said to describe college? It's not really about your education. Anything that your potential career or employer wants you to know, they're going to teach you. That's what orientation is for. It's not about what you learned. The degrees that says you have the ability to learn, which you should need a degree for. So the exact same situation is, or the exact same thought process is there where, shoot, it was fun though. You have to go through so much, even while you're in college. And I'm just talking about the general parts. You learning what groups you belong to. You dealing with different kinds of people, so you're interacting with different genres of people, different races, different creeds, different ethnicities, different sexes, different perspectives, different opinions, different biases, different prejudices, different advantages and different disadvantages. You're learning how to deal with people, which in itself can be a shock. Then you learning how to deal with money for the first time on your own. Because again, they'll give you the loans and whatnot, but now you have to figure out how to survive day to day because you're not living with your parents. Got room and board. I live on campus this month or for this semester. How am I going to eat? Because the unwritten part about college is you don't get as much support as you would assume when you're in college. Out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people. So you just got to figure it out. Few people can rely on their parents, but in a lot of cases, the parents like you're in college to figure it out. So you learning how to budget on your own independently, on top of learning how to socialize and where you fit in the gamut of social constructs. Then again, about college, little known fact, college is you learning how to teach yourself. The professor might explain things that you don't understand, but majority of your work in college is independent. So you learning how to learn. And you have to learn what to learn, when to learn it, whether to apply it or not, or whether you just regurgitating information. But also trying to learn about yourself and become more self-aware, what you like, what you don't like, what you want the rest of your life to look like, what experiences are important to you, what you're passionate about. You're going through all of these things all at once. College is like a sink or swim training for life. And while you training yourself, you're going through obstacles, you're going through trials and tribulations, you're going through trauma. Like a lot of college friends are people who trauma bonded because college is traumatic. And while you're going through all of these situations, you're so overwhelmed with life that you're not able to look down the road a little bit and see that there's a big ass brick wall that you're running 150 miles per hour right at, which is, that shit was a scam. It was a lie. You're working and putting all this effort in. You're working this hard because there's a goal in mind that there will be something waiting for you at the end. The land of milk and honey. When you get there, you expecting a 9-course meal, to be fed, to be well rested, and to go from there. And instead, you come out the other end and It's nothing but a forest. And you standing there by yourself, and with whatever you have in your pocket, you're gonna have to figure it out. College is like the Hunger Games, bruh. It's a wild situation. It's fun. You can be distracted with all the pleasures in the world because it's all up to you. You got to figure it out. But even with that being the case, life is real and it gets real. You go from 18 years of, I just have to go to school, to here's a 4-year time period for you to figure out who you are, for you to learn how to deal with money, for you to learn how to teach yourself, for you to experience life on your own, for you to learn how to deal with society on your own. And you only have 4 years to do it, while also focusing on getting a career that will fund the remainder of your life. You playing ping pong with one hand and you juggling 5 balls in the other. Balls. While riding a unicycle on the highway. And the highway is blocked. Your exit specifically is blocked. And you got to keep going, get off at the next exit, and figure out how to make your way back to what you was originally headed towards. That right there is an amazing feat to accomplish in a high degree of difficulty. But I mean, some bitches in college.
Yeah.